Howdy gamers, let's talk about the runes for Diana. I think there's a pretty big misconception on the keystones that you should be running. Starting off, most people run Conquer, and I'm going to recommend Electrocute. Diana is an assassin, and it's just more valuable to literally kill the champion when you spend every ability on him than it is to heal a little bit. So with Conquer, let's look at it. The most common rune page would be Conquer, Presence of Mind, or Triumph. They're both pretty similar, and then Triumph, Alacrity, Coup de Grace with secondary Taste of Blood, Ravenous Hunter, Adaptive Force, and then the resistance based on the lane matchup. With Conqueror, you gain stacks of Adaptive Force whenever you attack enemy champions, and then this, effectively at level 9, it's going to give you about 34 AP, and then level 11, 16, level 9 it's 34, I'm not sure the other values. It goes up a small amount. I think it goes to about 45 at level 16. So you get that. You get effectively a little bit of AP for free, but you have to look at the AP as like a gold value as well. If the gold value can be purchased or accessed elsewhere, then it's especially trumped as a keystone, because if it's always available through means such as Absolute Focus, Gathering Storm, why ever have to build it up on an assassin champion? So back to Conqueror. Once fully stacked, you heal for 15% of the damage you deal to enemy champions. Once it's fully stacked, you're on cooldown on Diana. You get to cast either your ult or your Q. Now, since those are AoE, you can get a lot of value out of that in a team fight, but if you're initially engaging onto someone, especially since you have a shield, you're probably near full health. So it's like, what is the value of that healing? Even in like a dream scenario where you're 60% HP, you engage, and then you're hitting 5-man second rotation Q and ult. Why would that be useful if you could just kill them? Think about it. Triumph, takedowns restore 12% of your missing health and then grant additional 20 gold. Not so bad. But Darius would use this 7 million times better than Diana would. Presence of Mind, you would get extra mana for free, so it would allow you to skip building a mana item. So you could build Nashor's, Deathcap, or Protobelt, Nashor's, Protobelt, Zanya's, etc. That'd be fine. The attack speed is also pretty much just luxury. You get a little bit over a dagger worth amount of attack speed from Alacrity, but again, that's like one more auto attack in a full rotation. So I'm really not seeing it there. Coup de Grace, probably the best rune out of all of these for Diana. Deal 8% more damage to champions who are less than 40% health. So that one's solid. Taste of Blood, you heal whenever you damage the enemy champion. This is effectively a laning tool, but also does heal you later into the game. And then Ravenous Hunter, you heal for a percentage of damage dealt by your abilities to enemy champions. Ravenous Hunter, again, you have to already have had taken damage for Ravenous Hunter to be useful, and with Diana, you're probably going in at full health, and then you're effectively just going to be healing. Same problem as Conquer, is you're only going to be getting the good value out of it on your second rotation of Q, or just the ult in most cases. And then the Adaptive Force would stay the same, so. Imagine if you were running this exact rune setup on Zed, because there's no difference, effectively. Diana can make better use out of it, but why would you run this when you could just kill the enemy champion in a full rotation with a rune page such as this? Why would you ever run runes that help you, that you have to, one, stack up as an assassin, not just instantly burst someone, because your stack on Diana is fast, but you've cast every single ability to do so. Q, E, W, 1 auto, and then if the 3 orbs hit, it fully procs Conqueror, and then if not, another auto fully procs it. Why would you do that when you could have effectively the exact same amount of AP from Absolute Focus, Gathering Storm, plus Ghost Portal, and then on top of that, have just more damage from Electrocute and Sudden Impact, and then have Relentless Hunter to not only help your laning phase, but then help you roam to side lanes, because that's effectively all you do on an assassin champion. Why would you do that? So this is the rune page I recommend. Electrocute. Starting off with the keystone. Hitting an enemy champion with 3 separate attacks or abilities, deal bonus adaptive damage. And then this is only on a 25-second cooldown to 20 seconds, so effectively dealing with 25 at most stages of the game. And then the damage scales with your AP, and then also on your level. So in melee matchups, this is going to be your trading tool whenever you're taking neutral trades. So let's say QW 1 auto or even just QW with 2 orb procs, it's going to be proccing Electrocute. So against champions like Kiana, Talon, etc., you block their initial damage with your W, and then if you can QE them or just Q auto them, then you're going to be able to proc the Electrocute and then put them at a worse HP range. Against ranged champions, it's even more effective as the damage that you deal with the Electrocute proc, once you get onto them once with, let's say, a QWE, they're probably going to either swipe you away or get away in some way. So let's say Orianna would shield W herself and then Cinder would swipe you away, etc. But even then, the dealing more damage to them with that one trade is going to put you at a better like HP range to actually kill them once Electrocute is back up. With sudden impact, it has pretty obvious utility. Whenever you use your E or flash or proto belt, then you're going to gain 7 lethality and then 6 magic pin for 5 seconds. You can even use the lethality since you're going to be auto attacking like 1 to 3 times in an all-in. And then with the 6 magic pin, it's going to be applying to every single source of damage from Diana. Her passive, her Q, her W, her E, and her ult. So that's just giving you more damage for free. It's effectively like a mini keystone. With Ghost Portal, whenever your wards expire, it places a Ghost Portal that gives you more vision and lasts for another 60 seconds. But more importantly, for Diana, whenever you place a Ghost Portal, you're going to get AP for free. And then this eventually gives you about 30 AP. You could swap this for Eyeball Collection. Any rune in this row is effectively just like how you determine how you're going to get this 30 AP throughout the game. With Ghost Portal, it's through warding. With Eyeball Collection, it's through killing champions. So Ghost Portal is always going to be more consistent. And then all of the Bounty Hunter runes in the last row aren't so bad for Diana. Ravenous Hunter, I'm valuing the movement speed most because, again, why have extra healing when you can have the utility of getting back to lane faster when you're weaker levels 1 to 4, and then once post 6, being able to move into the Fog of War faster gives you more utility, and then being able to move into the jungle or into side lanes is going to give you more utility. And then later in the game, whenever it's fully stacked, being able to reset to side lanes and being able to maneuver in side lanes is going to be pretty crucial to actually like having proper side laning like come mid to late game. Ingenious Hunter sounds okay, but it's kind of like it's kind of just a luxury rune compared to the movement speed offered by this. Ingenious Hunter would give you a couple seconds off Proto Belt, and then it'd give you, God, I want to say 15 seconds or something off Zanya's cooldown. But if you're winning, you don't even want to be building those items. You want to like get to death cap as soon as possible, so then you lose all value from Ingenious Hunter. And then with Ultimate Hunter, Diana's ult is already on a pretty low cooldown, so it's like it's a little under 2 minutes. So reducing that by 10 seconds doesn't really matter. Again, and it just doesn't outweigh the extra movement speed. Secondary rune with Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm, it's just ability power for free. With Absolute Focus, while you're above 70% HP, you're going to gain bonus ability power, and then with Gathering Storm, it's per 10 minutes. So most games are going to be sitting on 24 ability power 20 minutes. With Absolute Focus too, since you're an assassin, you're probably engaging at full health like 90% of the time. So you're just going to have more AP on your initial engage every single time. And then with the adaptive runes, it's going to be AP, and then again, depending on the matchup that you have, you would change the resistances. So armor into like Talon, Kiana, magic resist into like Syndra, Orianna, etc. So that's why I would recommend these runes, because simply spending every single one of Diana's abilities and the enemy champion dying outweighs the extra healing, the extra attack speed, the extra mana gained, and yeah, just the extra healing. Like, why ever have healing on this champion? It doesn't make any sense, and it's so weird that Conqueror page is like so commonly ran on Diana. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's talk about the secondary runes for a second. Considering or playing around that you're still running the Electrocute page, having the secondary, you would have to outweigh the extra ability power gained from Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm if you were running anything else in the secondary page. So that's why it's harder to justify running anything else. In the precision tree, coup de grace is good, but then any other secondary rune probably isn't going to outweigh the ability power gained. So again, having extra HP restored on takedowns isn't going to outweigh it. Having extra mana isn't going to outweigh it because you don't need extra mana when you're only casting effectively 2 rotations of your abilities. You're just not going to run out of mana. The extra mana would be for like side laning or something, and in that case, it's still just a luxury. The extra attack speed, again, like you just don't need it, and it doesn't outweigh the ability power gained. The resolve tree is kind of interesting as it could get you through bad lanes, but since you're playing mid lane, your reset to mid lane is fast enough that you don't have to run these defensive runes. You can even run teleport too, so even in the worst mid lane matchup, like second wind, and then I guess you would run shield bash isn't gonna save you that much. You might as well just run teleport instead, and then endure the early like CS deficit, and still have the scaling from the ability power per level with absolute focus, and then the ability power per 10 minutes with gathering storm. It would just equate to more, because even having second wind isn't gonna like buy you more CS that would earn you the same amount of ability power offered by these runes. For inspiration, you can make some good arguments, but the thing is, even with these, like you could offset the cost of boots, that's 300, and then biscuits are like they're like maybe 150 gold value or something. For Diana, where you could use them once to restore health level 1 to 4, and then you would just be selling them the rest of the time. Dematerializer isn't so useful as Diana has to double Q the wave anyways for it to die. It might be useful if you were to take the caster minion 3 times, pretty similar to how Echoes play, where your 1Q would kill the caster minions, but once you get Proto Belt, that would outweigh that as well. And then double Qing it also isn't that bad if you're getting pushed in all the time. And does it outweigh the absolute focus and gathering storm? Maybe at a higher MMR, this would be the rune setup, but I'm not sure. And then things like Cosmic Insight just doesn't beat the ability power. So that's my thoughts on the secondary rune variations. But for the primary one, I don't see any other good options. Airy plus Scorch might be interesting in some lanes in which you would actually have lethals off building up the Q, and you could consistently build it up, but you don't really do that with Diana anymore. Players have like outsmarted it, and also the champions like kind of just heal it with Corrupting Pot or something. So maybe if Corrupting Pot's removed and people forget Diana exists, and you could land like 3 or 4 Qs in a row in the laning phase, then it'd be pretty good. But it just doesn't work out right now, or it doesn't outweigh Electrocute. So that's my thoughts. I hope it's not too chaotic. I really don't think it's that crazy, man. Imagine, like legit, I think it's as simple as like imagine running Conqueror on Zed. Like it just doesn't make sense, does it? But somehow it applies to Diana because I don't know. Probably because of like fantasies of like how the champion could function because like it was slightly reworked. Anyways, if this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer literally all of them at twitch.tv/Nelson. Links in the description. I'm not playing Diana, but I might be talking about her, so stop on by. Bye-bye. See you later. Diana, man. Why would they think Conquer? What took them to that stage, man? I don't know.